This is McCook's Mr. Bill. It's an honor to have you here on a foggy day. My mother worked part-time at a courthouse to help ends meet because my dad being a sharecropper, there wasn't much money. And sometimes she would take me along. There would be maybe, a few hours. Most times she was lucky to get 4 hours, but that's 4 hours of work that she didn't have before, or money. And I would go along, and a little kid run around the courthouse there. And I went in one day to the old sheriff. And so I looked at that old sheriff and said, "How come you don't carry a gun?" And he looked back at me, and a famous statement to me impressed me that I've never forgotten. He said, "If you carry a gun that people can see, they will never trust or respect you, or they won't feel at ease with you." He raised up his shirt though, and under his shirt was a double-barrel Derringer, 22 Magnum double-barrel Derringer. That's right. And looked about like this guy. Of course, this is a toy. I said it's a toy, but and you can fire it. It's just a toy. I use it for a representation. But with that in mind, that's what he had. And I asked, I said, "It ain't very accurate though, is it?" And he said, "It's accurate enough for me." And of course, he'd seen combat in World War II, so he was no just blowing smoke. He was not. And he said, "I can shoot as accurate as most people can with a regular handgun out to about, say, 100 feet. 100 feet. Okay. So, with that in mind, though, his statement that not carrying a gun got him by. And you'd say, yeah, but what happened if he ever got in trouble? Faced somebody with a gun. It happened. He got word that there was a wanted man in his immediate area, and they had an idea where he was, and they went out, and there he was. Drove up there and got out of the car and walked up to a tree about 50 feet from that man. He then hollered at him. The man turned around, seeing it was a sheriff. He pulled out his gun and started shooting. Well, the sheriff was by the tree, and he just jumped behind the tree, and that guy started shooting and pecking the heck out of that old tree with his pistol. And the cop said the major problem he was worried about was hoping not either one end or the other wasn't getting hit by that tree. And pretty soon he took a peek around the tree because he'd quit shooting. Well, he'd run out of bullets. And so he pulled the clip to reload it, and he dropped the shells on the ground. So now the bad guy is on the ground trying to get the shells in the clip, and he just walked up with his double-barrel Derringer and having it ready if he needed it. Good time. This would be a good time to surrender. To surrender. But again, compared to the law enforcement back then and the common sense they had, and you'd say, well, he's risking a whole bunch without the bulletproof vest and all that stuff. Well, they didn't have it back then, and they got by. A few died, but they got by. And they didn't have to look like, stormtroopers. This is McCook's Mr. Bill. You rate this film and you have a good day.